Okay, boys and girls, so we are going to again discuss properties of multiplication. So far we have learned about the commutative property, the zero property, the identity property, and the associative property. And of course in multiplication we do complete multiplication as a faster way to do our addition. So some ways that we talked about in class is that multiplication shows equal groups. It is repeated addition. And we are using different properties to help us with our mental math with multiplication. So just to review in class, and then we're going to go over associative property again. Commutative property is when two numbers that can be multiplied together in any order and the product will remain the same. So as from our video the other night and as talked about in class, 10 times 5 equals 50, 5 times 10 equals 50. Notice that the two factors switch places and they both equals 50. The zero property says that the product of any number and 0 is 0. So I can do 0 times 12 equals 0. 0 times 100 equals 0. 179 times 0 equals 0. 216 times 0 equals 0. So any number times 0 is 0. And that is the zero property. The identity property says that any number multiplied by 1 equals the same number. So that number multiplied by 1 keeps the same identity. 7 times 1 equals 7. 1 times 8 equals 8. 100 times 1 equals 100. 1 times 1,000 equals 1,000. And these are just some examples that we talked about in class. And boys and girls, today we're going to talk about the associative property as we were introduced to this in class today. The associative property is the product of a set of numbers is the same no matter how they are grouped. So that means if I have 3 times 6 times 4, I can group 3 times 6 first to solve that and then multiply that by 4. Or I can do 3 times 6 times 4 and group 6 times 4 first and then multiply that by 3. Or I can just rearrange my numbers around, like in the commutative property. I can do 3 times 4 first and then multiply that by 6. So when I see this, I can see 3 groups of 6 4 times. I can see 6 groups of 4 3 times. Or I can see 3 groups of 4 6 times. So it doesn't matter how I group the numbers. The product will always remain the same, and that's what we're going to look at today. So in class, we talked about grouping numbers and drawing arrays. Arrays are area models to help us with our grouping. So today we're going to do an area model. Notice I already have my 2 groups of 3 4 times here. So I have 2 times 3 times 4. So this is a set of numbers. And these are all factors. Again, my factors are 2, 3, and 4. And it doesn't matter how I group them. So I can also group them. I can do 2 times 3 times 4. And what I see is 3 groups of 4 2 times. Up here I see 2 groups of 3 4 times. Or I can switch my numbers around and I can do 2 groups of 4 3 times. So I get to determine how I want to draw my area models. I get to determine which one will be easier for me to solve, and I'm sure there are other ways that we can group these numbers, but these are the ways that I want to focus on. So I'm going to analyze to see which one would be easier for me to draw. Let's see, 3 groups of 4 2 times. Let's do this one. 3 groups of 4 2 times. So I'm going to use my pen to help draw. Let's see, let's use green. Alright, so I'm going to do this one. Okay, I want to draw my 3 groups of 4 2 times. So it's kind of like an array, but I'm going to use my area model. So I see 3 groups of 4, so I'm going to do my 3 groups, and I'm going to make sure that there are 4 in each group. Okay, and I hope that your lines will be a lot straighter than mine. This is kind of hard doing on the computer, but we're going to get it done. Okay, so let's go back and erase and make that a little bit straighter. Okay. Okay, let's see. All right, that looks better. Okay, so this is my 3 groups of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So my 3 groups, 4 in each group. And boys and girls, we should know that 4 times 3 or 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, but I said I was going to draw it 2 times because that's what the problem says. So I drew it 1 time, and now I'm going to draw it 2 times. 3 groups of 4. Okay, and once again, let me double check. I have my 3 groups here, and I have my 4 in each group. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 here. Okay, so therefore it shows me that 3 groups of 4 equals 12. And in order for me to find how much I have total, guess what? I just have to add. That's where the repeated addition comes in. It's still multiplication. We're still using the same characteristics of multiplication, and 1 is repeated addition. So 12 plus 12 equals 24. Okay. Okay. In the purple folder in Schoology, I am going to, let's see, Schoology, no, I don't want that, sorry. All right, courses. I am going to upload some graph paper into the resources, and I'm going to put it in the Unit 4 because we are going to be using a lot of representations, and area models is a representation. So if you have a printer at home, you can print graph paper off at home, and then you can practice with some practice problems. One problem I am going to give you to practice with is, let's do 6 groups of 4 times 5. Okay, so again, boys and girls, the way that I gave it to you, this problem right here, it doesn't have to be in this order. You can regroup them however you want to, just like I did here, for you to solve it easier. So if you know 4 times 5 is easier for you, do 4 times 5 6 times. If you know that 6 times 5 is easier for you, do 6 times 5 4 times. That is up to you. Okay. So please let me know if you have any questions. Again, this is the associative property, which says the product of a set of numbers is the same no matter how they are grouped. So boys and girls, please let me know. Check the resources folder. I'm going to put a printable copy of the graph paper in there for you. So see you tomorrow.